A very good day, everybody, and welcome to Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. Eugene, what are we speaking about today?
Today we will be talking about dealing with fear. So today's topic is I like this topic because no matter where you have been in your life, you've had to deal with one type of fear one way or another. So we can all relate to this topic today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you are catching us on TikTok, we thank you very much for joining us. We go on standard South African time, anytime between 3:30 and 4 on a Monday. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to click on subscribe and that notification bell thingy. And if you're watching this on IGTV, don't forget to follow us and share with your friends. This particular topic will go on a week later. So we do a Monday and we do you a bit of a Wednesday reminder. I think I covered that correctly, eh?
That's it. So,
All right.
dealing with fear.
Yeah. I think we need to define fear first. And I must say a shout out to our producer, Maria, again. She's been really, really adamant and very, very good at putting points together for us. But I also did a little bit of research myself. Like I had the fear right now about what's going to happen if there's no Wi-Fi. How are we going to do? What do I do? What do I do? So then it led to some bit of an anxiety thing. But let's deal with fear itself. Dealing with fear is a big, big topic which I think many people struggle with sometimes because we can't identify fear itself. So fear is basically more or less an unpleasant emotion which is caused by threat or danger or pain or maybe even some harm that could be coming across. So we need to speak about this carefully. But let's not speak about fear too much because, as you said, the topic today is dealing with the fear. So, Eugene, over to you.
In my life, speaking from my perspective, like you have to face your fear. You know what I mean? Like at some stage, no matter where you are, you're going to be faced with fear, and you can either sit there and just let it totally consume you. But at the end of the day, no matter how much you want to try and ignore the fact that you have to finally overcome this mountain, you're going to have to face that fear. So facing
Yes.
that fear, dealing with fear by facing it is, for me, the number one topic. Like, if you're not facing that fear, what are you really doing, man? Like, we are all afraid of something. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Like, we're all afraid of something. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like, speaking from an entrepreneurial sense, if I was afraid to do everything that I've tried to do in my life, I would not be where I am now. I'd be a couple of steps behind because I'd be too afraid to do something. So I had to face my fears.
Yeah. Now, something which has come up in different methods of dealing with fear, and something that we've mentioned before in lots of the topics we've spoken about, and that is breathing in through the panic itself. As Maria says, dealing with fear can make us stronger, but also being able to identify that which needs to be dealt with, things that you don't have to worry about. We sometimes find ourselves worrying about things and becoming scared or building this fear of things that we actually do not need to worry about sometimes because of society, or we've been put under pressure to do things. And you say dealing with fear, facing your fear is so important. So maybe we should distinguish the kinds of fear we're speaking about. You speak about fear of failure. When somebody's scared of a spider and they have arachnophobia, that is a fear. I personally know of somebody who was scared of spiders, and then she ended up getting a tattoo of a spider to remind herself that she can deal with this. So, I'm not saying everybody must go and get a tattoo out there, but I'm saying that there are ways in which you can deal with it, and you can't tell somebody what they must do because they fear. Something else which comes up quite a bit is finding and to deal with fear is to visualize a happy place.
Yeah, definitely.
And surround yourself with positive thoughts around the fear. There are people who are not scared of anything. I know people who are scared of rain.
coming to the finding something that's how you deal with fear. Like, I heard a story once about Bill Gates, and you can see him when he's standing in front of a big audience. He stands like this, okay, with his thumb and his forefinger pushing against the inside of his palm like that. And from what I was told at one stage is that he's put happy memories here. So when he's standing there, he's triggering these happy memories. And then, because his fear is people, all these
Yeah.
people staring at him, that's his fear. That's one of his fears. So he's found a coping mechanism to handle and to deal with his fear, which if that like and I have seen interviews with him where you actually see him standing like that and you like, is it true? Like, I'd like to
Yeah.
believe that it is, but you know what I mean. Like, everyone deals with their fears in their own way, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is his method. I mean, I've also got fears. We've all got fears. I mean, as much as I'm a public speaker and I've spoken to crowds of 11,000 and 20,000, 40,000 people, people think it's easy. You still get that fear sometimes. What's going to happen if the microphone doesn't work? What's going to happen if I forget what I'm going to say? When I used to perform comedy, getting on stage, sometimes forgetting the words, the fear that kicks in is quite scary. But finding ways to deal with it, I think, is the most important thing. Like you said, facing that fear. Um, Cafe Mocha over here says running away from fear only means you will continually clash with it, but it's easier said than done. Absolutely, it is easier said than done. Let's use the spider as an example again. When you see a spider, are you going to jump on top of a couch every single time, or are you going to go, today is the day I face the spider? I know it's a silly example, but facing the fear is so important. I mean, there are people who have fear of dying, fear of failure. People have a fear of success. It is something we
Mm.
don't speak about. People have a fear of success. And it's scary because some people have a fear of lack, and then some people have a fear of having too much. And fear can be overthinking on dealing with something. It can absolutely. So overthinkers build a fear in their brain sometimes because,
Like,
and it's a fear that doesn't have to be there.
so now, what you've just said now, overthinkers build up a fear in their brain over time. Now, this is very relevant to a comment I have here that says, I have a fear of my time running out, not where I'd be when I was 40. Now, I think a lot of us have that fear. Like, you always, I would have liked to be there. I'd like to have done this by then. Because you have goals, and some of those goals don't always get met in life. Okay. And then, yes, I fear that I'm not going to be with. I just want to say now that no matter what, if you work on yourself every day and you invest in yourself every day, you will achieve your goals. You will, yes, you might not be able to do it when you're 40 now, but you you're able to do anything you set your mind to. And like, yes, okay, your goal was 40, but okay, 42, 43, 44 is of a year. Let me work my ass off to get to that point so that I am where I want to be in that time.
Yes.
A path or a hurdle might have come your way and an obstacle might have come your way during that period of time. It's finding ways to adapt to that, because at the end of the day, you still have your dreams and ambitions, and letting your fear of not being where you thought you would be get in your way is going to keep you from getting to your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that strikes me right now is something which our producer Maria has very kindly provided to us. And that you must identify the things that you can change and the things that you can't change, so that you don't put yourself into that fear, into that zone where you're just completely scared all the time. Eugene, I think we should take a quick commercial break
Cool.
and we'll come back in just a moment.
Sunny Motive, written by Sunil Osman, uses and explains motivational quotes to encourage readers of all ages to take bold steps in life, love, and business. Order your copy now by emailing Lauren Moy Publishing on sales@laurenmoypublishing.com.
Right, so welcome back to Monday Motivation with Sunil Osman and Eugene Wood, or Eugene Wood and Sunil Osman. It's the two of us. We're here. If you're catching us on TikTok, thank you very much for joining us. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to click on subscribe and notifications. IGTV, don't forget to click on follow and share with your friends. And today's topic, we are talking about, Eugene?
Dealing with fear.
Dealing with fear. So what we've covered is we've covered one of the things is that you have to be able to find and identify the fear and also face the fear. We spoke about breathing and how you can breathe through the panic of the fear and how fear can be an unpleasant emotion. But also we ended just before the commercial break. We ended by saying you must identify the things you can change and the things you can't change so you don't drive yourself crazy, basically.
100%. So during that period of time, we got two comments here that I'd like to deal with. Fear of letting my emotions push people away and fear of judgment. I think fear of judgment, this is a very common fear. Like, we all have that fear. Like, it's easy to say, oh, don't worry about what people think and say of you. Yes, that's what we would all like to believe we would do in a situation until we actually in that situation, and you're like, well, that opinion from that person affected me in that sort of. So fear of judgment is something that will get easier with time, because I know the older I get, the less I do actually care. When I was younger, I cared a lot more about a lot of people's opinions. Now it's really my peers and the people I look up to when they sort of had some. But it's also, are you able to handle constructive criticism? Because sometimes people's judgment might come across as judgment, but if you can see that as, depending on the situation, obviously, but if you can see it as, well, if I can improve here and here, then this and this, taking it as constructive criticism can often take that judgment away from you, your persona, your feelings, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And something which you should touch on slightly there is that judgment, well, not slightly, quite a bit, but the judgment and how people feel and they can't take constructive criticism. But what we need to also acknowledge is that society as a whole, online and offline, actually place so much pressure on people that they have that fear of failure. They have that fear of not being able to live up to the standards which have been set by society, when actually you should just be setting your own standards and you finding your own morals and ethics. Like Maria says here, it's worse when it blocks our personality and who we really want to be. Absolutely. Fear can do that. The hesitancy, that fear that crawls up you that goes, I can't do this because of what Eugene's going to say. I can't put this video up because of what society is going to say or how people are going to think. It's all fears that have been implanted into your brain. And the brain, as Maria said earlier, the brain is so powerful. It controls a lot of that fear. And it comes right back down to identifying what you can change, what you can't change, and what you should really actually be scared of and be fearing.
See, at the end of the day, someone's opinion of you is actually just their opinion, and you can take it as just that. You know what I mean? Like one of the things that says, as society dedicates you should be, how society dedicates you should act as a certain public figure, not public figure in that sense, but like, say, a widow, or like, how would you, like, oh, you should be like this. No, you still you, and you're just a widow now. You know what I mean? If that's your circumstances, but you're still you. Like, be you first of all. People's opinion of who you are, like I said last week, and probably the week before that, is at the end of the day, you get one life. And once it's over, it's over. So live that life. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of whatever. You live once. What then? When you're old, you don't want to sit there going, "Oh, I wish I had done this. I wish." Living with regret for me would be the worst. Fear of nothing. Fear of regret. pure and utter regret of not doing what I want to do in my life, that would kill me more than any fear ever will.
One of the quotes in my book, Sunny Motive, is don't be that person sitting on a rocking chair one day thinking to yourself, what if? That what if is so scary and people don't realize it young enough. I'm very blessed that I've realized a lot of the what ifs. People say, why do you do this? And I'm like, why don't I? Why don't you? Why not? There are too many why nots and what ifs that are left for too long, and you don't complete a soul part. You don't complete your life. You don't live your life because of the fears. You gotta embrace the opportunities. I mean, I actually did a small TikTok video about embracing opportunities, and it's about fears. The fears are the only things that can stop you. I was trying to think last night, how could I define fear in my own way? What do I like an acronym? And I couldn't find one because there are just so many words that can link up to F, E, A, and R. But at the end of the day, it's about facing the fears. It's about dealing with the fears. And if it is something seriously medically, like the spiders or fear of dying or something, you can go for counseling. Speak to the right people. Surround yourself with the people that are going to support you. If Eugene Wood fears what tequila is going to do to him, I'm going to buy him a tequila and have it with him because he's a buddy. I'm going to have it with him. I'm not going to give you the tequila and say, here, take the tequila and have it on your own. You've got to find the support structure that are going to support you. And it's not always family or friends. Sometimes it's an outsider. And it comes right back to what our producer has written very nicely in her beautiful handwriting. There are things that cause fear. And there are certain things you don't need to worry about. Identify the things you can change and the things you can't change. If Eugene Wood is willing to take that shot of tequila with me, he's identified something he can change. If he doesn't want to, he's identified something he doesn't want to change. Trying to figure out your fears alone can put you into a dark, dark hole which you don't always want to be in. And that dark hole is where the what ifs can live.
You see, and also, okay, touching on the what ifs now, because what if you don't do this? What if, like, how many other people have gone, well, no, they've said I can't do this, or no, he said I can't do this, and believe them and never done their what if, never landed up finding their why you do certain things every day.
The big why.
Like, it comes down to a why at the end of the day. Why do you get up every day? Why do you do, like single parents do it for their kids? And you know what I mean? Like, there's so many whys that people deal with, and finding that why you do what you do every day and focusing on that in theory, my theory, should trump most fears. Because at the end of the day, you are doing it for you. You are doing it for you.
Yes.
So if there's fear of rejection along the way, get ready to be rejected. Be ready to fail along the journey. There's going to be lots of failures. Lots of failures. To get to where you want to get to is not going to be easy. You're going to fail lots. There's going to be lots of rejection. Like, if I like my company that I have with Rope Access, if I had sent out every single quote and got every single one, I'd be the happiest man in the world. But I've had to deal with 70-80% of those companies going no.
Yeah.
Like, that's rejection. Yeah. That was what I was afraid of, not getting work in. But it's the other 20% that comes in that keeps it going and stuff like that. So you can't, like, if I never did one business to be able to get to a place to be able to start another business, I wouldn't have known who I was. And so dealing with fears and facing fears is like finding your why and then going, well, this is why I do what I do, is going to eventually trump any fear you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you've said a lot there also links to one of our other topics that we spoke about, and that was the self-esteem. Those people could break you down and build the fears inside of you, will build that anxiety, build the break your self-esteem down. And to end the conversation today, I'm going to end with exactly what our producer Maria has typed here. It ends up in being willing to deal with your fear. You have to be willing to deal with that fear, face that fear, and all that can happen is growth.
Thank you very much. I think that was good.
All right,
Yeah,
excellent.
do you have
Thank you very
anything
much,
final you
everybody.
want to say?
Yeah, what I'm going to say is breathing. Breathing comes up all the time. Find the fear, identify the fear, acknowledge it, and then deal with it. And again, if you're watching this on TikTok, thank you very much. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to click on subscribe and the notifications. And then IGTV, follow and share. Love and light to everybody. Deal with those fears. Oh, before we leave, next week's topic.
Yeah, dealing with loss.
We are such good hosts. We leave it up to our producer to tell
You're
us.
writing. I'm looking at your writing and I'm like, what? But yes, dealing with loss, and then in there we'll be dealing with breakups as well. So
All right.
stay tuned for next week.
Yeah. So next week's topic on Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and Sunil Osman is going to be dealing with loss. Thank you very much, everybody. Love and light.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.